Good morning, afternoon, or evening, friends, wherever you happen to be around the world. Hope you guys have been enjoying the Challenger broadcasts here on Twitch TV StarCraft all day. And now it is time for the Oceanics section of the broadcast, where we're going to bring all of you the best action from down under and a little bit from up over, because Demi Love's in here as well, and so is Risky. Pig, Moonglade, how you doing, fellas? We'll start with Pig, all the way over there on the other side of the window. So we'll start with furthest distance. How you doing, fella?
Which way do I need to lean? I need to lean this way. Oh, hey, Maynard. Good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta look this way. Hey, man. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, guys.
How you doing, fella? How you doing?
It's good to be here. I do like it when I leave my corporeal form and just kind of teleport here into the Matrix to cast some StarCraft with you lovely gentlemen. It's going to be a good day. Can't wait to see if Probe's going to keep bringing it out strong. Finally, we get to see Seither and young NXZ in action as well. So I'm pumped. I'm ready.
All right, Moonglade. Talk to us about today.
Man, I am excited. Yesterday was a blast. Every match yesterday was fantastic to watch from start to finish. And I was not expecting that because it was a qualifier. It was early in the qualifiers. But it's a good sign for today. I think we're going to have nothing but good games. And looking at this playlist, man, it's the cream of the crop, baby.
Yeah, I mean, we can have a look at the schedule for this weekend first before we get into it. But there is the top 14 qualified from yesterday, along with Seither and NXZ. That makes 16 in total. The maths checks out. Of course, Probe finishing the bracket on top yesterday in pretty dominating fashion, only dropping a map to Igus in the end there, just the one map. But the games that he won look extremely convincing. And we're seeing a lot of familiar names up there. Resurgence of some of the names that didn't quite make it this far last time. We're seeing Mia Mike has made it in, Frustration as well, and Pezz getting in there. And Risky, the hot topic of a lot of the discussions here around WCS Oceania, has made himself ninth spot. So that's absolutely worth his time and energy, I'd say, to make him get on down here and actually qualify. He didn't obviously, make it to top 8, but still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, getting knocked out by Iaguz and Hut, not a bad performance at all. Iaguz, of course, showed some very clever and strong Zerg versus Zerg. Hut actually was on the brink of being defeated by Risky. So, I think very easily Risky could have turned yesterday's, top 9 placement into a top 4 or 5. So definitely something where I think there's a lot of promise there. Risky is a very, very real threat to every player in this tournament. So I don't think anyone's underestimating him.
No, I agree with that. Actually, his ZVT especially looked very, very strong when he was playing against Hut.
Yeah, don't let that train run, man. You got to try and pick him apart early. Try and take advantage of any weaknesses he may have, aka ping, because we certainly saw, if when Hut let him go late game, man, he is a beast. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it certainly does. And maybe we could talk about the prize pool just as we're getting into the lobby right now. Just to refresh you guys that didn't watch yesterday's broadcast, a lot of money is on the line here. We've actually got everyone from top 8 onwards going to be paid today. $472. That's real money, not the Australian dollar. So that thing is going to be quite a lot of money going out from 5th all the way to 8th. And then from 4th up to 1st, we're getting into the real dollars. That's when we hit the 4 digits. 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place all getting paid mad bank. But the big deal is all about the top 2 players. That is the glory. That is the all expenses paid trip to Spain, to Valencia for the WCS finals of season 3. And that's what everyone is battling for today. I've got my predictions of who's going to make that top 2. Starts with a P and rhymes with robe, but we'll see if I'm right or wrong. My predictions have been a little bit shoddy outside of this, outside of Challenger anyway. Actually predicting Probe coming out first yesterday was probably the basic prediction, I guess, and I got away with it. So
that was good, man. But I feel like we got guys today that really put an end to him last qualifier with NXZ and Seither. So it's going to be the real test today, man. We're going to have to find out the truth here. Is Probe back? Can he defeat and take the top position?
Yeah, he looked good yesterday, so I think he's definitely got a good shot. It does feel like he's a little bit more confident than at the last one, but I definitely agree. This is not an easy road. I don't think we've really ever had anyone besides maybe I guess you in the early days, and then King Kong a bit later in the scene down here, Andy, who dominated, right? Like I know when I kind of was winning things, Iaguz had knocked me out every second one and that sort of thing. When Iaguz was at the top, then we had other players coming along. We had like Light and this sort of stuff. It's very hard for someone to just be like, on top, unchallenged, right? Everybody's always preparing for them going into the tournament. Everybody knows if you can beat that number 1 guy, you can have a much easier road through to qualifying.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. I remember Pig's reign of terror. You're selling yourself short. I remember a couple seasons where you were the number one guy. I remember. It wasn't quite like Moonglade dominating for 2 years in a row, but it was still pretty good. It was still pretty good. Our first series of the day is going to be between It's going to be not Pig, Pezz and Seither. So we're going to have Seither, one of our top 2 finishers. In fact, the number 1 finisher of the challenger last season for Austin, going up against Pezz, the Protoss challenger from Melbourne. And he is an old name from Wings of Liberty, kind of returning back in Legacy of the Void. I don't think he played a whole lot of Heart of the Swarm, but he's certainly hitting it hard in Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, I guess it was like maybe early HOTS. Like late Wings, he kind of really started competing quite a bit. Late HOTS, he kind of really got up there as well and started smashing it. So he's been getting really, really strong. And it's cool to see him back. He's been playing a lot. He's been practicing hard. So keen to see what he can bring.
Certainly. I feel like Seither his TVP is obviously quite incredible because he's beaten Probe in TVP before. So will his TVP keep on this high level and will he just dispatch Pezz? Or will Pezz surprise us and get himself a victory here? I feel like Pezz getting a victory here is quite the upset. Would you agree?
I would agree. Just butting on my way in here. I think Pezz is definitely the underdog in this one, as we usually see Seither can handle the likes of Probe. So Pezz has got a lot to prove right here, and it's quite a feat in the round 1 of a qualifier, I got to say.
Yeah, that was that's going to be quite the interesting storyline if it does unfold that way. We're in the lobby for game 1, wondering what's happening here. We just might say hello. Hello, all. Are we all ready?
I'm ready.
Am I going to be casting this one with you guys, or is it just you
and me, Piggly Wiggly? Yes, you and me,
guys.
Piggy.
Awesome.
I'm sitting in the back seat. I'm just watching.
Moonglade's going to do that thing, goes to the bar, gets himself a drink. We're going to have a private conversation. He's going to mosey on in about 3 games' time.
That is just the life of Moonglade. A Scotch and Coke at 10 a.m. in the morning. It's the way to start the day.
All right, well, the countdown has begun, and we're being magically whisked away to the fantastic lands of Acid Plant Ladder Edition for our first game and our first best of 3 for the final day. WCS Oceania Challenger. Seither versus Pezz. Let's get into it. In the bottom right here, representing SYF, the Terran God, doing very well in Austin. This is Seither.
And facing off against him up here in the top left-hand side of the map, the Protoss player in the purple, it is Pezz.
To start things off here, we have to do our shout-outs, of course, this tournament. Not just this one match, but all the matches would not be possible without the support of McDonald's and, of course, the wonderful production and support of Blizzard, ANZ. So a lot of love to all 3 of those companies for giving us the best production possible and the best games possible here today.
Oh, yeah. It is, such an awesome opportunity, of course. We had the last season's Challenger down at IEM Sydney. It was an awesome live event. Got a lot of the community down. Got to see some of those faces, some of those younger players, as well as some of the older ones returning back. It's always such a nice kind of fresh opportunity to get everyone together. There has been whispers as well of things like a new Probe StarCraft League, which I believe is going to be coming out in a few months. So lots of lands going on, lots of events for players to be come down and show their mettle at. Something I'm very excited for.
That's right. Exciting time to be an Australian StarCraft 2 fan. Or New Zealand as well, if you can afford flights. Going out for a bit of a scout here with Pezz's Probe, seeing what's up. And he's going to go for a pretty quick Nexus here of a 1-gate expand. All pretty regular stuff from both players so far.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something quite wild or even just straight up cheesy from Pezz, because this is such a hard match. Seither definitely is the favorite. I've actually just looked up the match history between these two. Pezz has never taken a map competitively off Seither. So it's 0 to 7 in games, 0 to 4 in matches. So, and those, quite a few of those are just in the recent months as well. One in May, I believe it is. Actually, no, 2 of those are in March. We've got US dates on the Ligulac. There we go. Not too bad. So yeah, a few months ago, Pezz has improved in that time. I've been playing him a bit on the ladder, and he's definitely someone who I think he goes into this series, no doubt, with a good idea of some sort of plan where it's like, yeah, I'm going to take a risk and try to get some advantage. He's not just going to sit back all game long.
I agree with you there. I think taking it to the mid game and letting Seither go unchecked without having to push his defensive capabilities is going to really be a mistake here for Pezz. As Seither kind of has that really strong late game. He's kind of similar to like a lot of players. If you haven't seen Seither before and maybe you follow the Korean scene, he's a bit like your TY, where he likes to go into the late game. He's very, very good at multitasking, harassing, and yeah, the mid game to late game is really all about his his stomping grounds there.
He does manage to spot the Twilight Council, so of course knows it's either Blink or Dark Templar. I wonder how much he respects the Dark Templar kind of potential there. Nice harassment here out of Pezz's probe. These Marines, of course, only now about to pop out. Pezz finally going to lose that probe, but not before it's been very annoying, slowing down the command center, damaging a few SCVs, and does spot the Hellion on the way out.
He certainly does, and it's just the one Hellion here. I'm used to seeing multiple Hellions in the earlier stages of the game, maybe from a reactive factory to try and get into the probe mineral line, and they are very, very good against workers. All three races workers, they're very, very good. But this is a pretty nice lockdown here from Pezz. I can't see this Hellion doing too much other than getting a scout of the wall.
Yeah, just going to see the second and third gateway timing. It does make it, of course, just look like, it's Blink or DTs. It's one or the other. And I don't think he's going to go straight Raven. Okay, so yeah, Seither is like, you know what? How do I play safe against potential DTs? Just get a Raven out. And what's really cool is we're seeing a lot of these sort of one barracks, one factory, one starport play where you delay the second and third barracks and you build more siege tanks. Maybe you go into Cloaked Banshees after the Raven and you could make a lot of different pushes happen. But not just that, you deny your opponent's vision. You know, those Ravens can hunt down observers really well. And there's just such a threat of certain pushes coming that the Protoss has to kind of play a little bit more of a unit-heavy style, can't just rush up that fully saturated third nexus that they love to do.
Yeah, they certainly do. It's not uncommon for Protoss to just have that nexus and worker advantage that we're actually seeing in front of our very eyes here, with Chronoboost being quite the ability indeed. Lots of probes getting pumped out. Just these Stalkers with Blink now just finishing, being very good defensively as well. If there was any kind of Liberator or drop, these Stalkers make him think twice. And Seither is just chilling, man. He's getting more and more production. His second and third barracks going down with Stim, as well as an Entry Bay for +1 and turrets going down. So it's all pretty regular for the Terran, and there's that third Nexus on the way. And it's going to be up to Seither to basically use an army advantage to try and get some economy damage done, or even trade well with the army here of Pezz shortly.
Yeah, he's going to be a single engineering bay finishing up, so he'll be starting those bio upgrades. I think the Stim is quite well timed with this build, considering there was the Raven and the Siege Tank investment. I don't mind seeing this build up at all. I think he's definitely got to look to be aggressive, and wow, that's a very quick charge and double forge, so that's definitely something which, that's the strong point for Pezz, is going to be a ton of gateway units in the mid-game.
But the most important thing there was that the Hellion of Seither actually got into the main and saw that the Twilight Council was researching charge. Blink already done, so he knows the Twilight Council is very likely going for charge next. And he also saw the double forge go down, so that's a really good scout for that Hellion. Didn't get worker damage, but that scout absolutely makes it worth it.
Yeah, I wonder if Seither adjusts much against this. I mean, he is already starting Widow Mine production, which is obviously going to be very good versus the charge lots, and they do build so quickly now, those Widow Mines. I wonder if he does just kind of still continue with a big attack off this. I think he will. One Siege Tank, one Raven, like a Shredder missile in there can do a lot. But at the same time, he saw no gas on the back of the natural of Pezz as well. So it's like, okay, I know you're getting charge, I know you're getting upgrades, and without that gas, that tells me you're going to be investing in a big, big wave of charge lots. And until you have like maybe 6 Widow Mines, I feel like charge lots can crush a sort of like little Marine Marauder force on its own. Once you get 6, 8 Widow Mines, that count, things kind of, change up a little bit. But I guess it does just come down to the timing and the numbers. We've got those Zealot Warpins starting to come in so many gateways, Maynard, and Immortals coming out as well. This is going to be a very, very tight timing. Seither is going to need to get in there very quickly if he wants to.
Oh, yeah. Pezz is about to have 8 warp gates here as those gateways switch on over to warp mode. Charge just finishing up with 1-1 still a little bit of ways, but 1-1 should finish during this fight. +1 attack about to finish for Seither. Pezz is on the chase here, trying to maybe shave off a medevac. If he could get that Raven, it'd be really fantastic, but he's just standing and fighting a little bit, trying to do a little bit of damage to that bio. Doesn't get too much done. I think he picks off 1 Marine there. And Seither is actually loading up and going for a drop on the other side. Ooh, takes a big siege tank volley to his Sorkers.
This is buying so much time, though, and that 1-1 is now about to finish, and every 30 seconds that goes by, it's another, 7 or 8 charge zealots swapping in. Another Widow Mine goes down to these Stalkers. This is great defense by Pezz. Is Pezz just going to take the fight? I think he's got enough zealots. I think he can do it, Maynard.
Shield batteries be damned. He's going to engage into this choke point against the Terror, and one of those siege tags gets taken out, and Seither gets completely deflected here. He has to retreat with his tail between his legs. Oh, that thought he's going to drop, but a quick recall from Pezz, and he has Stalkers in the main as well to deflect. Really good defense.
Yeah, this is really nice defense, but Seither is actually coming back in on the right-hand side. He's trying to just out-multitask Pezz right now. So far, Pezz dealing with it very, very well. Seither, though, trying to just up the pressure, trying to pull Pezz apart. Pezz not falling, though.
Oh!
Wow.
Gets that fully loaded medevac there. Brilliant defense from Pezz. He's really punishing Seither for this maneuver. Seither got almost nothing done there. Pezz doesn't have the greatest work account versus the Terran. He's up in SCVs, but he certainly has that army advantage, and he's going to turn it on to the other side of the map and try and hurt this third base as it starts to finish up.
Yeah, the ghosts aren't out yet. The third base is just finished up, and now it's exposed, and it's vulnerable here. That's a lot of Widow Mines, though. You can't jump on that with those Zealots. Pezz doesn't really have a Warp Prism or anything like that out right now, so there's no way to walk into the main just yet.
Yeah, you can't really commit this hard without a Warp Prism. His recall's obviously been used, so that's on cooldown. Can't use that spell either. There's that Warp Prism coming in, so maybe Pezz does want to continue this pressure here.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to find a soft spot, though, right? You attack into that Widow Mine spread, it's so nasty. So, the drop coming back in the back of the natural of Pezz here, just not giving him any room to focus on the aggression. Seither here is like, just keep buying time, keep pushing the game later. And very, very nice play by Seither. They're going to go into the third as well and get a little bit more damage there.
Yeah, it looks like Pezz has actually got to clean up all of these. So not the greatest of trades, but getting this probe count is quite nice. To see they lost a few SCVs himself on the other side of the map during that attack. The third does survive, though, so Seither can start to get these ghosts up. And when the ghosts come out, it's going to be very, very important. He's going to be able to basically EMP down those Zealots, which makes them a lot softer and easy to deal with. However, there's not really any Templar tech on the way here for Pezz. He's going down the robotics option.
Yeah, he's going to be going to Colossi, I believe. Maybe Disruptors. We've seen a lot of charge lot Disruptor play recently. It's the unit composition which doesn't fit together in a lot of people's minds, but it works so well because the Disruptor's weakness is immobility. But hey, scratch that thought. It's actually just Colossi, old school. Now, this is fascinating. We don't see a lot of Colossi play. Colossi are still a good unit, but they excel against Widow Mines, against Marines, against these light armored units. The Marauders are so good against Colossi these days.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, the Marauder was already good against Colossus base compositions before the buff, so they're even better now. They are, I still feel like the Colossus are a good choice because they can be good, like, there is just Widow Mines and Ghosts here for Seither, and it kind of negates both those things. That's charge lot warping in the main base being very annoying to see. They're killing 5 SCVs at least here, and they're continuing their reign of terror.
Seither hasn't really adjusted his rally yet. He's just focusing everything on this attack. He's pulled the boys to the front. He's going to go all in. He's tried to EMP the sentries. The sentry, one sentry does lose all of its energy. There's one more full energy sentry, but there we go. Only one Colossi out. This is a huge push from Seither.
Yeah, a lot of Marauders here. If he can get through all these Zealots, he's going to be able to get to the chewy underside of this Protoss army and pick up those Colossi. Pezz losing his entire front line here. Definitely trying to walk in some charge lots to hold on. Extended thermal lance, only 3/4 of the way done. These Colossi definitely trying to hold on. Seither's army's getting smaller and smaller. Pezz pulls back. Nice macro on that Colossus. Another charge lot warp in. Is it going to be enough?
Wow, third Colossi joins the army. I think he can hang on. He can afford to lose a lot of probes here. There's only 20 SCVs for Seither, but Seither's micro is being good. He gets that red hit point Colossi. If another Colossi goes down, there's just not much firepower left here, and he's going to do it. He gets all 3 of the Colossi, Maynard.
Oh, that 1/3 Colossus is just so low in hit points. The last Marauder does fire and take it out. Will charge lot warp-ins be enough? It doesn't look like it. GG. Seither with a nail-biting finish there in game number 1 manages to snatch that game out of Pezz's grip.
Man, they just don't do damage. Those Colossi to Marauders. That's what I'm talking about, dude. There's like 3 Colossi. Like, there's not that much fire. It's something where for anyone who's maybe an older viewer who hasn't played as much in the last, say, year, Colossi did get changed to have a much more focused role on bonus to light damage. So they massacre Marines and SCVs and Ghosts and Widow Mines and the like, but in these fights where it gets very scrappy and it's small numbers, suddenly the Marauders are kind of just like spreading out. You're hitting individual Marauders with Colossi, and that's where the Colossi don't look as good. But it's in the big battles where there's lots of units, they're inevitably clumped up. That's where they can look very nice. Pezz fought pretty well that game. I thought he was going to be able to actually close that one out. Those Zealot counterattacks were massacring Seither. He had such a poor reinforce behind that. But that one punch is all you need, man.
I completely agree with you, and you took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say, like, Pezz is really impressive. He's a lot better than I expected here. Really pushed Seither against the ropes. Could have easily taken that game. Well, I mean, any win against Seither is not easy, but you know what I mean. He could have won that game. Is what I'm trying to say. He's looking really, really cool in PVT, but Seither's just a little bit too good in the end there. That decision to pull the boys and go for it was pretty decisive and in the end effective, but it was so close.
I think it's so impressive from Seither as well, because it is so hard when you play this very defensive style. He went for the Raven because he was worried about DTs. He knows that there's a good chance, Pezz is going to try maybe something a bit cheeky. And then he, kind of ends up going forward and losing his Siege Tank and his Raven with that push. It was getting shut down by just the Charge Zealots, the Blink Stalkers. But Seither kind of just kept harassing, right? He kept like the Liberator hit the main, that drop that went to the natural stayed alive for a long time, came back in multiple times. And you could see that he created discomfort for Pezz. And you pointed it out a few times, Maynard, where it was like, oh, wow, Pezz is winning these fights, but Seither's actually got the same work account as him. And he's, he is teching up and adding upgrades behind it. So I felt like Seither made the best of a bad situation in that game. So looking good going into map number 2 on Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher, one of the new maps. It's got a little bit of a weird layout, but it has so many attack paths, similar to a lot of the earlier season maps like Interloper. We are going to get into it in the top left spawn here from SYF, currently up 1 in the series. This is Seither.
And facing off against him down here at the bottom right-hand side, an impressive game 1. Unfortunately, did let it slip away, though. In the purple, the Protoss player, he is Pezz.
The Pezz dispenser. More like the pain dispenser, this guy. He's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, Dreamcatcher PVT, I feel like, is very, very good for like drop play, run buys, just suddenly appearing in a choke point and attacking into a base and killing it. I see that happen quite a lot here. Those choke points, those third bases, a lot of battles happen there.
Yeah, this is a very interesting map. Terran versus Protoss can get a little bit wild here. The mineral lines are very exposed to drops and air harass, so whether it be Liberators, drops, could be Oracles coming in. These mineral lines are always kind of out on the edge next to the dead space, so it's very easy to get in there and straight in, do some damage, get out. Whereas the previous map pool, you usually had to fly straight through a whole chunk of ground in the base, which is obviously dangerous territory to get into the mineral lines. So harassment can be quite big. You've also got those spread out bases. You pointed out, all the different paths and ridges on this map. And Pezz is going to be doing a nice early probe scout, do a little bit of harassment. Good way to start off this game.
And this is something I need to do. Bring those 2 SCVs down. Don't even front with this first probe. Like, you bring 1 SCV down thinking that you're good, you never are.
Never.
So we already got second Seither here. Second SCV from Seither here is making sure that his probe is not going to delay his CC as much as possible. He's already starting to float about 100 minerals as that command center goes down. But it is almost factory time, though, if you wanted to go down that option.
Yeah, we only see that now. Of course, Reaper into factory. Very typical Terran vs Protoss opening. Seither happy to play with no scouting so far. Just kind of playing the efficiency game rather than the information game for now. Going to rely on this Reaper to spot what's going on. Kind of surprised since Seither's playing this style. Maybe Pezz didn't realize he plays this style, was expecting SCV scouts. I would have, loved to see a Zealot Stalker trying to delay the command center. Maybe even a proxy second gateway, something like that. This Reaper is now going to come in, and Step going to try and stop it.
Well, the Reaper has not... I just saw the edge of that Twilight Council just there. It comes in and confirms what it is.
Yeah.
There's actually a probe still trying to delay that command center on the other side of the map, and it managed to do it as well as this Reaper comes in the main. Oh, getting a probe kill. Quite nice, and it might be able to... Oh, no, it's not going to escape. That Adepts. He's got that one in the bag.
The Adepts say no to violence against probes, man. That Reaper does pay for his crimes. And meanwhile, Pezz sees literally everything. This probe is just on his walkie-talkie. He's radioing back home. He's like, yep, there's a single Hellion, double Marines in the reactor at Tech Lab. Looks like the exact same build as the previous game.
That's right. He's just not only delayed the command center, already got him all the information for main base, and then he gets to ride the Valhalla, shiny and chrome in the end there. So that's fine. Definitely worth his life. And once again, Pezz is going for this full well-off, so like the Hellions can't really get any scouting information as long as those units are there. Still going with this Blink opener, getting multiple Stalkers out. Ooh. The Blink defense from Pezz was a really strong part of his play, but this is very different here from Seither.
Yeah.
Banshee is an opener, and this is starting to come back a little bit in TVP.
Absolutely. There's actually a really good Terrancraft article about this recently. Just talking about, obviously one of the big things with the Widow Mine change when the Widow Mines obviously reveal themselves after they've fired. They only go invisible when they're, on cooldown, or off cooldown, I should say. Basically, a lot of Protoss players skip detection for a long time. We see the Robo only now halfway done at the 4-minute mark. Cloak's already halfway done. If you make an Observer out of that Robo, and it's halfway across the map, and then the Banshees arrive, like, you can just lose a ton of workers. And this is something Pezz might just assume it is the Raven. If he's really being safe, he should know, okay, this is an opening where it could very easily be a Cloak Banshee. So, like, if you're playing safe, you should be ready for that. But Pezz might just feel like, nah, he's going to do the same thing as last game. If he thinks that, it will be a bad decision. Where's that Observer rallied across the map? No shield batteries in the mineral line. Oh, this could time out very well for Seither. Actually, I think he might go in just a few seconds too early. It would actually be better if he waited with this Banshee.
Pezz will probably burn a Chrono Boost on this robotics facility here as the Banshee comes on in. Stalker's going to start to tussle as quickly as possible. They got that blink, but there goes that cloak. You don't burn that cloak immediately. And he does go for it. There's that Observer coming in. He's going to lose 5, looks like maybe 6 pros before the Banshee gets dealt with. He loses the Banshee, but 7 is worth it, I would say.
Yeah, totally. I was like, oh, maybe he's going in too early. And it's like, yeah, maybe you could have done more, but this is more than enough damage for now. And oh my gosh, does the Pylon spot it? Does he have any idea about that bunker? That's insane. If that gets up with the siege tanks, oh, dude. Because the Banshee distracts in the main base. We've seen Maru and a few other really good Terrans do this sort of build recently, TY as well. It's like the Banshee goes in the main. You've got to leave units here. Oh, guess what? There's a bunker and siege tanks at your third. Non-stop marine tank production behind this. And Seither's Banshee distracts very well. It gets out of dodge, and that's it. The bunker's up. The siege tanks are siege. Instant cancel from Pezz.
Really nice maneuver there from Seither. Even gets a pylon for his troubles. He's just going to supply block Pezz as he gets those forges down and tries to get some units out. And Seither's getting his third up very comfortably back in his natural. Pezz has to restart that economy.
Yeah, this is a real pain for Pezz. He's got charge almost finished. There's some like powerful, crazy attacks he could do, but he's kind of got to wait for Seither to move out to a third base probably. I mean, Seither doesn't have a wall just yet, so who knows? Maybe there's an opportunity. If Seither stays a little bit too aggressive, Pezz might be able to jump on that. The Banshee, though, finding its way into the natural. Observer is in the main right now, and Banshee going to start to rack up some more kills.
Yeah, it certainly is. More and more probes going down. Pezz's economy is not looking very good at all, with that third being slowed down and the probes being hit by these Banshees. He's down to 38 workers against Seither's 47. Almost unheard of for Terran to have that huge of an economy lead in the early stages of this game, unless the harassment goes extremely well, which it certainly has been for Seither.
Yeah, at this point, if I'm in Pezz's shoes, I'm thinking charge it all in all the way. It's going to be so hard to climb back into a macro game. That being said, this is a big investment out of Seither. His stim hasn't even started. It's 7 minutes, and he hasn't even started stim or combat shields.
You got to get a tech lab on that bad boy, and there he goes, starting to fix it up. So he's probably going to start stim and combat shield at the same time here, but you're still right. Even with those double upgrades, they're gonna be very, very, very delayed.
Yeah, he's got a lot of siege tanks and non-stop production though, so I guess we can probably see like an 8 siege tank, like 40 marine push about 2 minutes from now when stim finishes off. So I don't know, that's going to be scary to hold as Pezz. Charge lot's pretty good versus siege tanks, but it's just going to be potentially a numbers game. You're going to have to like catch those tanks unsieged or something, get a flank to be able to handle such a big Terran army. Yeah,
and with the amount of choke points in this map, the potential for a run by is quite good with these, like, charge lot run bys are an excellent tool in the later stages of the game for Protoss, but right now Seither's very, very locked down. Gets the Observer, and also the rocks get knocked down here, so that extra attack path in the middle, not possible really for Pezz. So we have to attack from the north, way, way, way up top, or way, way, way down south.
Yeah, we've got this Banshee, which actually got repaired up in the south side, so I like this. There's still no shield battery in these bases. Pezz, feeling that he's a bit behind, has tried to skimp on his anti-air defense, saying, you know what, if I cut that corner, maybe I get back in the game. But I think it's kind of the opposite. When that Banshee feels like going in, it's going to find an empty, undefended mineral line, and even more kills are going to rack on up. Stim and shields are both getting past the halfway mark. A huge siege tank bio push coming out onto the map right now. Pezz, he spots it coming, but he doesn't really have a lot of room to intercept this.
He's going to try and get rid of the more attack paths here, so he limits the options for Seither. Seither back in the main base with his Banshee. Oh, no. It's quite a brutal pro pull here as his economy's still hurting quite a bit. Has to be able to replenish those numbers. And Pezz needs to really finish up these upgrades and get a big gateway army out to try and hold Seither. But Seither is actually, that was a fake push. He just went, you know, here I come, and then just went back home.
Yep, now he's ready. Stim is finishing up, Shields is finishing up, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 siege tanks with this army. Oh my lord. That is a huge army. 40
cool.
Supply lead here. Seither is just looking to shut this down. We've got the Immortal drop that's going to try and flank this.
Yeah, we're looking for those siege tanks. And that's a pretty cool maneuver, actually. A sandwich is a good way to try and fix this situation. That siege tank position for Seither is so brutal. But if Pezz can get in the back line and target fire them down, it might go very differently. And he is target firing them down those tanks. Does he have enough gateway units to clean up Seither? Oh, Pezz! These Immortals really coming in strong for him. He needs a bit more charge lots, though.
That was the sickest flank there by Pezz. Shuts that down so well.
And he gets the medevac with the tank as well. Brilliant defense from Pezz.
Wow. Seither desperately picks up his units and tries to go across the map. Tanks are not what you need against a Charge Lord Immortal flank. The numbers still in Seither's favor right now. He's still up in economy. But you know what? This has been an incredible fight to get him back into this game. He's trying to push on the other side as Seither. Going to do this counter drop. He's going to run in there, try and take down this, and forces the recall. Immediate evacuation. Good move by Seither. He's just backing off, licking his wounds, rebuilding his army.
That gives him a lot of room to breathe. If he wasn't doing that and attacking the other side of the map, Pezz could continue to pressure that third base. I'm almost surprised that Pezz recalled the entire army there. Like, I would have thought maybe recall a few charge lots, still with the run by, and continue to pressure that third, but I guess he didn't have that many units, so probably a good option in the end.
Yeah, it was kind of his last bastion of economy. If he stayed there, he probably would have to potentially, you know, go all in on the third base. The siege tank count, oh my lord, building 2 at a time. It is just constantly building up like crazy at this point. It just keeps growing more and more. So we are going to see, you know, Pezz poking around with a drop, looking for a fourth base, adding Storm. And, I mean, looking at just the supply and the siege tank count and the Liberator count, I'm like, well, this is, you know, not going to go well for Pezz the longer it goes. But the upgrades are the one thing that gives me a lot of hope for Pezz. He's got 3-3 past halfway, whereas Seither's only halfway towards just +2 attack. No armor upgrade. He's way behind on the upgrades.
All these turrets, though. Hello, War Prism. Goodbye, War Prism. Unfortunate trade there for Pezz.
Youch. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I feel like Seither just turtles up for a really long time here, right? Like, goes for... I mean, he's already maxed. Oh, my. Okay, maybe he just pushes out. Do you think, like, maybe the upgrades just don't even matter when you have this many siege tanks? It's like, let's just go.
I mean, yeah, the army of Pezz is quite strong, but with this many siege tanks, unless you have a lot of Immortals and a lot of charge lots, they are just going to get destroyed. Like, if you're going for Colossi or something like that, this army completely erases that composition off the map. It's very, very anti-Colossus.
Yeah.
Storms have to be amazing. Flanks have to be amazing. The charge lot count has to be way too damn high to be able to hold something that looks like this from Terran.
We need to see another flank. We can't see Seither go for, Pezz go for a one-directional fight. The flank is what did it for him last time. He's kind of, you know, a little bit slow to set it up this time. This time, Seither's positioning is so much better. Here comes the Psystorm drop from the north. Is he going to land it?
He gets some pretty good storms there on the bio. The tank's doing a lot of damage to Pezz's army. He's breaking up a few of his units here. The charge loss of the Archons on the north-hand side, trying to pick up a few tanks. They do successfully do it, though. The Prism didn't manage to save that Archon, but he's catching these reinforcement tanks. Very important pickoffs. However, the bio is still the scariest part of this army.
3-3 versus 2-1, though. Even just a single Zealot warp in turns this fight around so drastically. The Marauder's not able to chew through those upgraded Zealots quickly enough, and of course Stalker's on the retreat as well, going to shut down some of these medevacs. Gets one with a couple of Marauders. There is a counter drop from Seither at that third base, but I don't know if it's going to be able to do enough here. Pezz, he's got the upgrades, he's got the position. He's actually going to try and commit, but I think that's a bad call. Yeah, good retreat here by Pezz. You can't get through that wall of barracks.
Yeah, certainly. Ooh, that War Prism, try and keep that alive. The War Prism does have its extra bit of speed there. It's going to pull back from the Stim Marines and save itself. Seither is starting to get more and more ghosts up in this composition. It's just funny to see that medevac chilling there at that fourth base to the north, but Pezz has really taken the lead here, and I have to say a lot of that has to do with these upgrades, like you mentioned. Seither still on 2-1 for his bio, with +2 just finishing up now, whereas 3-3 is done for the Protoss. He could even start to get shield upgrades, whatever he wants for this later stage to make those Archons a little scarier and just to make all of his units take a little bit more damage.
Thankfully, Pezz actually, in his natural, just put his workers back to mine. They'd ran away from that drop, and they were sitting in a corner of his main for the last minute or so. So a bit of a mistake there. Pezz forgot about them in the chaos of everything that was happening. Did lose a lot of mining time, but now is going into DTs and plasma shields. I think this is a good call. You know, as the game gets scrappier, as you get more spread out, DT counterattacks can be so massive. Pezz still down in supply. Here comes another push. It's all about the EMPs. Are the EMPs going to be quick enough on that warp prism? That's what this next fight is all about. Here we go. Pezz wants to take it. He's going to jump on this.
He's gone for a big flank, and he picks off one of those tanks immediately, then instantly pulls back from that bio, trying to use this terrain against the Terror. Normally, this is such a great position for siege tanks, but Pezz just staying out of range, trying to go for flanks and making the bio a little bit more awkward to use
drop
here.
In the back of the natural at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Seither just trying to catch him out of position, and that allows him to siege up his push on the third base, baits him into a bad fight.
Oh, the EMPs and the tanks on the other side of this terrain here, doing a lot of damage. The warp prism dies immediately. There were High Templar in there. And now Pezz is in a lot of trouble. The tanks are all still alive, and Seither is pressing the issue. Pezz also accidentally put a robotics bay in the back end of this. He's really starting to fall apart towards the end there, and Seither takes advantage with a 2-0 in the end. But once again, I have to say that Pezz fought so well against this very favored opponent.
Dude, that big siege tank push, the Immortals dropping on the back line, and that charge lot warp in, he was down like 40 army supply or something before that fight. I'm not even sure if his 2-2 was finished, but that was such an incredible engagement. And when you're down in a hard position like that, you've got to, really dig deep. So hats off to Pezz. We are very impressed. And I think our Protoss player there, Pezz, unfortunately does lose here with such a bad draw in the first round, but I think he's going to be a very scary PPT opponent in the lower bracket.
I agree with you. Mooglade, thoughts on the series? What did you think, mate? Did you enjoy it? You're muted.
Sorry about that, boys. It's probably for the best because I was yelling during that game. I couldn't believe it. That maneuver in game 2 where he did drop the Immortals from the north and rained on the tanks and just saved the game for him for a little while longer. And it was so good, man. I was so impressed by Pezz. He's such a good player. I'm so sad that he got Seither round 1, but I'm sure he can pick it up in the lower bracket.
I agree. If he can keep up that form in the other matchups, or especially, his PVT is clearly quite good. So I fear for the other Terrans that aren't Seither in that losers bracket.
Dude, that was sick. Good start to the day. Even though it was a 2-game, beautiful start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
So, we've had a few other results and stuff. Should we go through some of those? I've seen that Risky got 2-0'd by yours. So,
Whoa.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, ZVZ with his ping disadvantage, I'd imagine that yours is always the kind of guy is that already without the ping advantage would do things like 13-12s, pull first,
Straight up.
Yeah, so it's not a huge surprise to see yours get aggressive, and probably I'd imagine that's what that series looked like if I had to guess.
Yeah,
but Risky stays alive in the bottom end there. He's got Pezz, unfortunately, I'd say for Risky in the losers bracket.
Looks like Frustration no-showed. Did get NXZ got a walkover against him, and we'll be going through. So maybe out a little bit too late last night. Didn't get up early enough here on Sundays. Hut against Fuely, and looks like Peppy got revenge against Big Junior, against my little brother there. Took him out with a 2-0. So that's going to create a very interesting lower bracket. Already, Pezz versus Risky is going to be a good match. Big Junior, of course, waiting for probably like Mio Micro, I think might end up down there, or the loser of Crimson and Azure. Lots of good matches heating up here today.
Pig Junior gets the loser of Probe Miyamaka. You're absolutely right. And I doubt that Probe's going to go down to Miyamaka. His PVZ looked way too good yesterday.
Yeah, that was looking unreal. I definitely don't see that happening. What is the next match that we want to cover, though, is the next question.
Well, Seither versus yours just got lined up for us there. With
that is quite delicious. I got to agree with you.
Yeah, that's a TVZ for the ages. Well, we could potentially be getting NXZ versus Crimson and Azure, depending on how far along that series is.
The bracket just updated me and Micah to a probe.
What?
Oh my lord!
Wow!
No! What the hell?
I was watching it and it just happened.
I just watched it as well, dude. My brain didn't register what happened though. I saw that probe's through, and then I actually my eyes started reading.
That's me and Micah.
2-0. What?
Upset.
That's insane. You know, Mio's beaten him a bunch of times in like ANZ Pro League and stuff like that, but it's always a surprise. And that's Mio Micah in a nutshell, right? It's like, oh, he's not favored here. You know, I've seen him lose to some guy in Masters 3 one time. Then he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I just beat like a 7K MMR player. Mio Micah is
God damn.
indefatigable.
Poor little bro, man. He's got probe first round of the lower bracket.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Poor Pig Jr.
Legacy team.
And poor
kill
Probe
there.
as well, man. Having only one life remaining and this after looking so good in the open bracket. Oh.
It's kind of a repeat of the qualifiers last season as well. He kind of got knocked out early.
Kind of similar to IM Sydney, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
He was in the first round, getting knocked down the losers bracket and having to fight all the way through.
Insanity, my friends.
Yeah. Wonder if Hutt will go down there and dispatch him again. We'll see.
Might be looking for it. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What a day.
So
what a day already.
On that next series. What a day indeed, Glade. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what we might do is we're going to take a short break here and try and get into NXZ versus the winner of Crimson and Azure. So, guys, don't detune. Stay with your eyes glued to that screen because when we return, we're going to have StarCraft games ready for you, casted by Moonglade and Pig. And we'll see you then for the continuation of WCS Challenger Oceania.